The Middle East, a region of immense historical, cultural, and religious significance, has long been embroiled in a complex web of conflicts. From the eastern shores of the Mediterranean to the Persian Gulf, tensions simmer and often erupt, shaping the geopolitical landscape of the entire world. Understanding the roots of these conflicts requires delving into the region's turbulent past, examining the interplay of historical grievances, political ambitions, and religious differences. For centuries, the Middle East has been a crossroads of civilizations, a melting pot of cultures and religions. This rich tapestry has, at times, been marred by conflict and instability. The modern Middle East, in particular, has been shaped by a confluence of factors, including the collapse of empires, the rise of nationalism, and the discovery of vast oil reserves. These forces have created a volatile mix, fueling tensions that continue to reverberate today. The purpose of this essay is not to offer simplistic solutions to deeply entrenched problems. Instead, it aims to provide a nuanced understanding of the key issues at play, highlighting the historical context, the competing narratives, and the challenges to peace-building. By shedding light on the complexities of the Middle East, we can foster greater empathy and promote informed dialogue, essential steps towards a more peaceful and prosperous future for the region and the world. To grasp the complexities of the modern Middle East, we must turn back the clock to the early 20th century. As World War I raged, Great Britain and France secretly carved up the Ottoman Empire. This clandestine pact, known as the Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916, shaped the political map of the region. Britain and France drew arbitrary lines, dividing the Arab provinces into spheres of influence. France was promised control over Syria and Lebanon, while Britain secured Palestine, Transjordan, and Iraq. This division disregarded ethnic and religious boundaries, setting the stage for future unrest. The legacy of Sykes-Picot continues to cast a long shadow over the Middle East. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has captured the world's attention intensely. This decades-long struggle, rooted in competing claims to the same land, has resulted in countless lives lost. Understanding the historical context and the human toll is crucial to comprehending the dynamics of the Middle East. The roots of the conflict trace back to the late 19th century with the rise of Zionism. A Palestinian national identity emerged in response to Zionist aspirations. The Balfour Declaration of 1917 exacerbated tensions between Jewish and Arab communities. The situation reached a boiling point in 1948 with the end of the British Mandate and the declaration of the State of Israel. The Arab-Israeli War of 1948 led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. Subsequent wars in 1967 and 1973 entrenched Israel's control over territories claimed by Palestinians. The conflict is a clash of narratives, a struggle for recognition, security, and self-determination. Section 4. Syria, a nation engulfed in flames. In 2011, the Arab Spring, a wave of pro-democracy uprisings that swept across the Middle East, reached Syria. What began as peaceful protests against the authoritarian rule of President Bashar al-Assad quickly descended into a brutal civil war, turning the country into a humanitarian catastrophe and a geopolitical tinderbox. Syria's civil war is a complex conflict with multiple actors, both internal and external, vying for power and influence. The Assad regime, backed by Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah, has been locked in a deadly struggle against a fragmented opposition, comprising various rebel groups, some supported by the West and Gulf states, while others are affiliated with extremist organizations. The conflict has had a devastating impact on Syria and the wider region. Millions of Syrians have been internally displaced, while millions more have fled the country, seeking refuge in neighboring countries and Europe. The war has also created a breeding ground for extremist groups such as ISIS, which exploited the chaos to seize territory and spread terror. The Syrian Civil War highlights the fragility of peace in the Middle East and the devastating consequences of regional and international rivalries. The conflict has also exposed the limitations of international diplomacy, as efforts to broker a political solution have repeatedly faltered. Section 5. A Cold War heats up, the Iran-Saudi Arabia rivalry. The rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia, two regional heavyweights with contrasting ideologies and geopolitical ambitions, has long cast a shadow over the Middle East. This rivalry, often described as a Cold War, has intensified in recent years, fueling proxy conflicts, exacerbating sectarian tensions, and threatening regional stability. At the heart of the rivalry lies a struggle for regional hegemony and ideological dominance. Iran, a Shiite theocracy, seeks to expand its influence through support for allied groups and movements across the region. Saudi Arabia, a Sunni monarchy, views Iran's growing power as a direct threat to its own interests and the regional balance of power. The Iran-Saudi Arabia rivalry manifests itself in various ways, from proxy conflicts in Yemen, Syria, and Iraq, to a diplomatic tug-of-war for influence. The two countries back opposing sides in these conflicts, providing financial, military, and logistical support to their respective allies. This proxy warfare has fueled instability, exacerbated sectarian tensions, and deepened humanitarian crises. The rivalry has also spilled over into the economic realm. Both countries are major oil producers and use their energy resources as a tool of influence. The competition for market share and the manipulation of oil prices have global economic implications. Section 6. Rays of Hope, the Abraham Accords, and a Path to Peace. Amidst the seemingly intractable conflicts and deep-seated rivalries in the Middle East, a glimmer of hope emerged in 2020 with the signing of the Abraham Accords. This historic agreement, brokered by the United States, saw Israel normalize relations with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, followed by Sudan and Morocco. The Abraham Accords represent a significant breakthrough in Arab-Israeli relations, challenging the long-held consensus that peace with Israel was contingent on resolving the Palestinian issue. The accords, driven by shared security concerns, economic interests, and a desire to move beyond historical animosities, have the potential to reshape the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. The accords have ushered in a new era of cooperation between Israel and its Arab partners in various fields, including trade, tourism, technology, and security. These burgeoning ties have the potential to create economic opportunities, foster people-to-people exchanges, and promote regional stability. While the Abraham Accords do not directly address the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, they have created a new dynamic in the region. The accords demonstrate that Arab states are increasingly willing to engage with Israel, even in the absence of a Palestinian state.